What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Shred Show Live. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a show for you. I am joined by the absolutely incredible, the talented, the brilliant Patty Arvielo. She has received so many accolades, so many awards, and I cannot tell you how grateful, how humble I am to have her on the show. She's received Entrepreneur of the Year. She's received Top 10 Corporate Latina Executives of the Year. She co-founded New American Funding, but more importantly, she has joined the Champions Funding team. And we're going to be discussing that today, how she's become part of the Champions team, and how they are focused on mission-driven lending, how they're focused on really helping women in leadership, and how they continue to advocate for us in the mortgage industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Champions continues to lead by example and lead from the front. And this discussion with Patty today is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. You are not going to want to miss this. Volume up, share it out. Are you ready? Are you ready? It is time to shred. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shred Show Live. As I mentioned in our intro, I am humbled. I'm honored. I don't get nervous very often, but when I have people like Patty on the show, I just get excited because, again, as I've mentioned, she is one of those leaders that is truly leading by example. She is advocating. She is helping. She's doing so much. She already has done so much. Co-founder and president of New American Funding. She received an award in 2016 as Entrepreneur of the Year. In 2020, she received the Corporate Latina Executive Award. She has accolades. She has awards. Plus, like I said, she's one of those people who is truly entrenched within our industry, and I'm so excited to have her on the show. Patty, good morning, and welcome to the Shred Show.
Good morning, Joe. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here today.
Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you. Like we were talking about getting ready for this, when we first met years ago, I was blown away by just your excitement, your enthusiasm every time. You're one of those people who does have this infectious energy. And again, having the career that you have had in this industry is absolutely brilliant. And that's actually where I want to start. I mean, you're literally a household name in the industry. I would say most people know who you are. But for those who may not know, or those who want to get to know you a little bit better, share just a little bit how you got started in this industry.
Oh my gosh, that would be like a whole other show. So yeah, kind of, I will be celebrating in like tomorrow, right? June 1st?
Yeah, tomorrow's June 1st.
Yeah, 41 years in the mortgage industry. I know.
Whoa, that's amazing. Yeah. So you got started when you were like 10. That's awesome.
I love that. Yeah, not too far from that. So yeah, 16, I fell into this like clerical position that, I input derogatory credit trades on the mortgage credit report. So, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was a data input clerk. So once I figured out that the girls ordering the reports made more money than me, then I'm like, well, shoot, then I need to be that person and not the person typing the negative credit reports, So anyhow, yeah, it's a 41 year of basically failing and doing everything in the industry and not failing twice. So yeah.
Well, that's amazing. And like what I love just about that even, and it probably is, you and I could spend an entire show talking about the experiences you've had from starting in a clerical position and now being, co-founder and president of New American Funding. Like it's just, it would be so much fun. And maybe that is another show. Now you got me on that. But what's cool is you did start and you worked your way up. You said, hey, you know what? I'm going to find these opportunities. I'm going to go after it. I'm going to work hard. I'm willing to, put in the time and the effort necessary. And now look where you are. So and then you've been with New American Funding since 2003, if I remember right. If my memory,
the early portion of New American with Rick and Patty started 2003, but the original New American started in the late 90s, believe it or not.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, so then, I brought my then boyfriend into the mortgage industry, and that started New American Funding.
Nice. Well, what I'm excited to talk about today is, you are one of those people that you have had this incredible relationship. You have had these incredible partnerships. And as we discuss this mission-driven lending, I'm excited about this discussion in particular, because right now our industry is in a little bit of turmoil, if you will. There's a lot of fear going around, and more than ever, partnerships, collaborations, working even with competitors, which you have this reputation to do. As many people know, your relationship with Glenn Stearns back in the day, and now with Champions Funding, which many people would be like, wait a minute, Patty is with New American. Why would she possibly be working with Champions? Why does that even come up? How do you say, you know what, I'm going to work closely with our competitors? How does that even work?
I know. I don't know how it works. I think it's because I'm a woman. I don't have an ego. I mean, I don't have an ego. And when I see synergistic value and opportunity, I go for it. And, what better way than to partner with mentors and friends? I mean, I have deep relationships that go many, many years with Glenn Stearns. I've known Evan Stone since he was 25 years old. And he's in his early 40s now. So I feel like I've been with him his entire mortgage life, and I trust both of them with my life. So that's pretty special. It's pretty special. So when Evan brought this opportunity to me, this was last year when we were all killing it, right? But the typical Latina is always fearing when it's going to be over. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and 20 and 21 were unicorn years. I've never seen years like what we've had before. And yet I sat there with fear in my belly going, okay, this is like way too good to be true. When's it going to end? So in preparing for when it's going to end, I'm like, you know what? We need to have a CDFI. We need to have the non-QM product. We need to have a sustainable platform where not only New American, which I'm always taking care of my New American family, right? You got to create these win-win relationships. When Evan brought this opportunity to me, I'm like, well, what better way for him to partner with one of the country's biggest originators and for me to do what's passionate for me, and that's to serve underserved communities with the CDFI umbrella. So yeah, I'm super fortunate and lucky that I have these amazing friends.
I love that you put it that way. You have amazing friends. Sometimes we talk about, partnerships. Sometimes we talk about business, but us as an industry, we have these friendships. We have these deep lasting relationships. We talk about being a relationship driven industry, but the fact that you even mentioned, Glenn Stearns, talk about Evan, like as friends, although they are competitors and we're all competitive in nature, but at the same time, having these friendships where we can thrive as an industry, help one another. And you mentioned non-QM, which we champions is absolutely just killing right now. But you also mentioned the CDFI. For those who aren't maybe familiar with it, I'd maybe just kind of shed a little bit of light, because as we were getting ready for this, you kind of educated me on it. This is something that is kind of a new opportunity within the industry.
Yeah. So I know it's kind of a buzzword and everybody's like, oh, CDFI. Well, I tried to get New American Funding CDFI approved years ago. And it's a very difficult designation to get. It's basically a certification that you get where the fund works with institutional lenders to deliver, economic opportunity into distressed communities. That's the intention of the fund. So now why everybody in mortgage is like, CDFI, oh, these lenders can do all these, great different type of programs. This fund is all about sustainability and helping distressed communities across the United States of America. So we are one of very few CDFI approved mortgage funds. It's very difficult to get. A large percentage of your originations and funding have to go towards distressed communities and people of color or underserved communities. So that's where the passion is. That's where the passion lies. I'm like, I need more tools to do what I love to do. So I can only do so much with the Fannie, Freddie, and Ginnie program.
Well, and that's just it. You're advocating for our industry. You're advocating for the underserved. And if I'm right, it's Community Development Financial Institution Funds, correct? Yes. Is what CDFI stands for. So again, like you mentioned, it's not specifically a mortgage product, but now you're bringing it into our space. Again, looking for new opportunities. You and I, as leaders, we look for new opportunities. You and I have been through the downturns. We've been through the ups and the downs of this industry. As a non-QM, CDFI, we look for little ways that we can serve. We all in this industry, I say this time and time again, we're all doing our best to help the American achieve the dream of home ownership. What doesn't matter, race, religion, whatever background, we want to help everybody and anybody who qualifies be able to buy that, to achieve that dream of home ownership, which again, I know you're so big in regards to advocating for it, always looking to partner. And I want to talk about that in particular. Why as a competitor, you've kind of alluded to this, but why partner with another competitor? What advantage does that give to you and to them in a market like this?
I know I'm unique in that way, but I think that there's more than enough to go around. And we are talking about an underserved community here that we're all trying to go after here. Listen, I think that I do what I do in my lane really, really well. really,
Sure.
really well. New American has done phenomenally. I feel like I'm a good sales leader. I feel like I can really expand my mission to serve the underserved and have for many, many years. This is not a space where we need to compete. I know that people feel that way, but it's still underserved. There's still home ownership rates that lag behind the white home ownership rate that we all need to focus on. So when I see people, a lot of times people were like, well, we're going to hire you to be the Patty at our company. Well, the Patty in the company owns the company. So there's very few Latina owners of mortgage companies in America, right? I don't even know another one. I'm sure that I've inspired others to get in. So I also find myself being underrepresented in the industry. So when Evan, like I said, brought this opportunity up, it's what I do. I advocate, and I have been advocating since 1994, when I all of a sudden found myself in a refinance market that was killing it. And then all of a sudden the faucet went off and I'm like, wait, where's all the loans? The phones weren't ringing anymore. In a community right next to me called Santa Ana, California, which is primarily a Latino community, they were still buying. Like, I saw realtors still doing business. So I said, I speak really good Spanish. Boy, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to ask realtors for loans. So that's how I fell into Latino lending, was by seeing the opportunity and having the tools and knowing the culture so well.
Oh.
So that's kind of what kind of just ignited the passion. So last year when we met Evan, when we talked about this opportunity, I said, I want to do this because there's going to be a time where this product is very needed. Hence today, because I'll tell you, Latinos look for the opportunity. They're not so worried about the interest rate. They're like, here's my payment. I'm already paying this in rent. I can afford to buy a house. They're not looking at the interest rates are 5.5 compared to where they were. They're just looking for the opportunity to get the keys to their home and to their dream.
Oh.
So this is a perfect partnership for me. I do all the advocacy. I do all the work about keeping us on our toes to serve the CDFI mission. And Evan runs the company along with amazing team members, which are primarily women.
Yes.
So it's fun for me.
That is amazing. That story right there, it's one of those that gives me goosebumps, because again, you look for opportunities to serve a community that is amazing. The Latino community for me as well, here in Utah, having a Spanish background, speaking Spanish myself, as I was building my mortgage company here, I saw that, like, Latinos, they're so incredibly passionate people as well. And they're very, very loyal. I found as I got in there, started to learn more of their cultures, spending years in Central America that I did, and then understanding the Latino community here in Utah in particular. Once I started to show them that, like, hey, I want to help you, I want to advocate for you, and I want to help you achieve this dream as well. They were underserved, and this is something you continue to advocate for, which is so incredible. But you mentioned something that you are not only in the Latino community, but the women. We have such an amazing leadership of women within our industry. Yourself, Christy Furco. There's so many people that I could name, but we have this continuing growing population of women who have, again, I don't want to say they haven't played a role, but it's finally coming to fruition. It's coming to light, and we're discussing it. It's incredible women like yourself that are actually having these. And you mentioned champions. From the very beginning, when with Christy and with Tiffany, Melanie, their entire team, there's so many incredible women like yourself that are part of this. Why haven't we seen more lenders? Why haven't we seen companies really, I guess, bring to light or to really focus on the incredible women that are part of their organizations?
You know what? I give men kind of like a break, because I think any male that wants the best person for the job is going to look at whomever that person shows up, right?
Sure.
I think that for us, it's been kind of fun to rally around each other. And, like, we're on text basis with a Christy Furco, or I can call a Susan Stewart, or, we're still a very small community of women in mortgage that are, I would say, killing it.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because, our time is here, and it is my responsibility to show other women that you can rise in this wonderful, industry called mortgage banking. But, we've lagged behind men for many, many years. We didn't come into the workforce as really killing it until the 50s or 60s, which is my generation. So it's really my responsibility to teach the Christies and to teach the younger generation, they're all much younger than me, that the opportunity does exist. But I will tell you that great things and synergies and have been happening around, the golf course or YPO events for men. These opportunities to create even bigger businesses together have mostly happened with men. So the fact that I've aligned with two powerhouse mortgage men in this industry shows other women that there is that opportunity to collaborate with males. And so it's usually two guys that show up and they're going to build these companies, or two guys that buy the sports team. One day it's going to be Patty and a guy that's going to buy the sports team, right? So I'm showing women that, yes, we can collaborate with men, we can network with men, and we bring a lot of value to men in business, but it's just new. It's just new.
It is new, and that's just it. But it's people like yourself who are willing to talk about it, to discuss it, to lead by example, by doing it. Like you said, partnering with the Evans, partnering with the Glens, partnering with these great men. But now it's the women who are taking their turn. Like, hey, now we're here. We're making an impact. We're making changes. We're evolving our industry. We're innovating our industry. But now I have to know. You mentioned buying a sports team. If you could buy a sports team,
that would be with Evan. Evan's goal is to buy a sports team. I'm like going to make it so that it's somebody I want to buy, so I can buy it with him, so I can say women too can work with men to buy big sports teams. Like,
that's awesome.
I was super excited when the soccer team in England went up for sale, and I saw some powerhouse sports women trying to buy it. I'm like, we need this. We need it for representation, and we need it so that we can move forward. And listen, if women want to have it, they should have it. If we want equality, we should have it. It doesn't mean that all women want equality. It doesn't mean that it is whatever we want to be. But if we want it, we should have it. So I just try to show women that, you can collaborate with men, because most great collaborations and great synergies have been male to male, because they meet, guys in the locker room. I mean, there's still country clubs in America where women aren't allowed in the bars at the country club. Like, really, there's a male bar and then there's a female area with no bar. I mean, like, I'm not for that. Give me a bar too. Like, if I want to be equal, I should be equal. But, that's just how I feel. But I just feel like representation matters. And I feel like my biggest, what makes me feel best is when women go, I have never met you, but I saw you and now I own this. Like, yes, it's speaking freely about, if you want it, we should have it. I don't think any males, though, are holding us back. At least that's not been my experience. Most males just don't know how to interact with women in business, or they're uncomfortable to say certain things to offend us. I'm like, no, just put it all on the table and say what you want to say. Like, I'm a big person. I can take it. So I just think that this is just a new and exciting time for women in this industry.
It is a really new and is an exciting time. What sports team, if you could buy one, what would you buy? Who would you buy? Come on, let's hear it.
I would, because my family loves soccer. So that's why when the Chelsea team came up, I know Evan's passion is baseball, and he'll probably, that one day he will own a Major League Baseball team, because Evan's a guy that puts a goal out there and gets it. And I've watched him his entire career do it. And he's just such a solid individual. Like, I'm so proud to call him my friend. But yeah, it's he will do it, but I'm like, I'll do something else and make him my partner. Like,
I love it. I love it. So you mentioned, we talked about champions a lot in this regard. How do you see champions? Because they really are supporting women, kind of in a very, very different way. Like you said, the time is now. We're seeing this movement. We're seeing this shift happen. But how have you seen champions really support women?
Yeah, so it comes from a vision. Listen, I work with a male. I'm married to my business partner. And so we have really great conversations about male-female leadership. I think Evan saw that opportunity with me, and he trusts me and I trust him. So that's one part. He also sees what he does really, really well. He's in his lane, and he also sees what women bring to the table in the mortgage industry. So I think that it comes from a vision, right? And a lot of people don't know the company before that Evan had. He really did focus on the underserved communities. He was doing loans nobody else wanted to do with Pacific Union. Even he freaked me out with some of the loans he was doing, but he knew from a opportunity standpoint, and from a social impact standpoint, and also from a sustainable lending standpoint, that those loans could be done. What happens is regulators freak everyone out, right? Regulators freak the mortgage industry out. And I don't blame my competitors sometimes from not doing certain loans, especially ones that were in during the financial crises and the meltdown. But Evan is different. So when we saw this opportunity, we first met. He's like, yeah, I'm going to acquire a CDFI mortgage company. I'm like, oh my God, it's been my dream. Like, I want that dream of being able to utilize the CDFI fund the way it was intended to be used. And it hasn't been used that much in the mortgage industry, only with a few competitors that have come out publicly in the last couple of years, about the mission. So we're one of very, very few CDFI mortgage funds in the country. So I think with my background and his intuitive vision and his willingness to collaborate with women and to empower us, I think that we're going to really kill it in the industry. We're doing fantastic now with only being in business like 6 months. So
I was going to say, you're already killing it with
I know we are. I get zero credit. It is the team at Champions. It is the fact that when we've come together to collaborate with one mission to really be that person, be that wholesale lender that inspires brokers to go out and get this type of business, to teach them. And that's what I hope. I hope that I bring a role of leadership to the team that just inspires people to go big, right? To just be bigger. Because a lot of loan originators are like, they've been killing it with traditional products the last few years. Well, you need to get out of your comfort box and you need to learn how to do this type of product, right? It kills me when loan officers are like, yeah, I don't really know how to do an FHA loan, or I don't know non-QM, so I'm going to refer it out. No, this is not the time to refer loans out. This is the time to educate yourself around the products that are being offered to sell.
Oh, that is so impactful. What you just said, that last 30 seconds, sometimes, we see these ups and these downs of mortgage, and it's no longer like, oh no, I'm not going to refer this out. Learn. We are an industry where you have to learn, where you have to say, you know what, times are changing. Our industry is evolving. I have to start looking at where's there opportunity? Where can I better myself for all the friends all the consumers, all those people that I'm helping achieve that dream of homeownership? How can I learn? Where can I get better? Where can I add additional opportunities? I love that you speak to that. And that really is what the future of our industry is. And talking about that, you've mentioned it a couple of times, but really you are such an advocate for our industry, especially for, the mortgage industry in particular. You have a role in particular with the Housing Counseling Federal Advisory Committee, the HCFAC. Talk to us about that and what opportunity it provides in particular.
So the HUD Advisory Board is the advisory board that governs and works with all the housing counseling agencies in America. So the housing counseling agencies in America are such an underutilized resource for lenders. So I want to make everyone my friend. I'm a master networker. So how better to advocate and serve, and my mission is the same as HUD counseling agencies, right? We are to work together. So what's happened in the past is that you have the housing counseling agencies working in their lane and the lenders working in this lane, when we really need to be together working on the same highway. So my role on the HUD Advisory Board is to really teach HUD counseling agencies how to have work in tandem with independent mortgage companies. So that's my role. That's my mission. That's what I bring to the table. And listen, you need to be close to the agencies that we're serving, right? To HUD, to Freddie, to Fannie. I've said on every single agency's at least one board in my past. I currently serve on the Mortgage Bankers Association, RESBOG. I mean, you need to serve our industry. You can't just be afraid, you have to serve and show up. And honestly, the companies I admire the most are the ones that show up to serve the industry that's feeding us. When I see my competitors talking game and they don't show up to an MBA event, I'm like, really? I mean, this is such an incredible industry that has a lot of risk. There's a lot of risk. And so I show up to serve the industry that has made my life so phenomenal, that and my family's life. I never thought, I was cleaning real estate offices when I was 12 years old with my mom. She was a maid. I never saw myself owning a company like this. And I thank the industry for giving me the opportunity. So I think we need to serve it. And I think we need to educate. We need to educate regulators. We need to educate the government. We need to educate them around the value we bring to this country and serving homeownership.
Oh my gosh. That was like it. Seriously, like goosebumps here, because this is something that we hear a lot of people talk a big game, especially right now, where there is some fear, where there is some uncertainty, where there's, we're not sure exactly what's going to happen. Well, us who are leaders we know what we're going to do. We're going to see the opportunities. We're going to go for it. But hearing you talk about that and hearing you talking about serving, being involved, not just sitting back and saying, you know what? Nope, I'm just going to focus on my little lane here. I'm just going to focus on my business. You have to get involved. That's why leaders like yourself continue to help us grow, not just as a company, not just as New American or Champions or one organization, but as an entire industry. These are the discussions. It's people like yourself who are willing to put themselves out there, dedicate your time, your resources, and your efforts in bringing people together. That is what this is all about. And as we start to wrap this entire conversation up, because this has been incredibly brilliant and so helpful for me and for everybody listening, what would you say to those who are right now, who are maybe in a spot, they're like, I don't know, what is my next step? Patty, what should I be doing? How can I serve? Because sometimes we get overwhelmed with so many what can I do this or what can I do? What would you tell those who are like, well, where do I get started? How do I get involved? What do you tell those people, Patty?
I think there's so many great trade organizations. I think the Mortgage Bankers Association is one of the most powerful in the country. And it really, people are like, some independent mortgage companies are like, oh, I don't want to write that check. That check has been one of the best checks I've ever written in owning New American Funding. When you need them, they're there to advocate for us in DC. I advocate for New American Funding in DC. I have a full-time lobbyist in DC for New American Funding. There are very few lenders in the country who have that, that tool in their toolbox. I actually learned from Rocket, why are they the most powerful? Because they serve the industry that's serving them. You give, you get. So I want other independent mortgage companies to write the check, to support the Mortgage Bankers Association, to support organizations like NAREP, who's empowered me to serve the Latino community in this country. When Gary talks about, independent mortgage companies and representation, my name always comes out. That's what we want. We want to serve and we want them to advocate for us. And that's how we show up. So that's our leaders. We're here to lead. I'm here to groom that next generation up. And that's what I think what makes me happy when I get up in the morning. It's not really running a mortgage company. It's leading people and empowering people.
Mic drop. That was absolutely incredible. And that's where we're going to end it, ladies and gentlemen. And that's, Patty, that's why I have so much respect and have so much admiration for you, because you're doing it. You're not talking about it. You're not, just saying, oh, we're going to try, or, we're thinking about doing this. You're in it. You're in the trenches. You are one of those warriors and one of those leaders who is grabbing it and just saying, hey, we're going, we're taking this to the next level. We're taking this to where our industry is going. So you are incredible. Thank you so much for the women that you serve, for the women that you inspire, for all the leaders, men, women, whoever it may be. You're absolutely brilliant. And I cannot thank you enough for all that you shared today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to be on your show.
It's amazing. Guys, go follow Patty. Go follow all that she does on the different social channels. Follow New American Funding. Follow Champions, because again, these are the organizations that are collaborating. They are working together. This is the future of our industry. If we do not work together, if we do not serve and help one another, as Patty had said, we're going to lose ultimately. But we can do this together. We can join forces. We can unite, and ultimately we can serve those who are trying to achieve the dream of homeownership. And I know that we can, and that's what we do here at Shred. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an absolutely brilliant conversation. Again, huge shout out to Patty, to Champions Funding and New American Funding for being part of the show today. And with that, we want to see you succeed. We want to see you have success in this new year. And as always, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya.